Hello.
Shit. I got nothing.
Yeah, no, I kind of
nothing.
lost it after I'd lost it too, so it's all good.
We were on such a roll before we got started, and now we're just like,
I know, right?
What's going on, everybody? What?
Whoops.
Not yet.
I know.
Yet.
I was trying
We'll get to that in a second, dude.
I was trying to make sure it was pulled up.
What's going on, everybody? This is Mac and Alamo. We are the Battle Bros, and this is the BattleBROS Podcast. We come on almost every Friday night when we're in season. We have seasons. That's why I say that. Not like we're in season, like hunting season. Don't get weird. Yeah, so this is our little pet project that we do. We do a podcast talking about topics related to the military and veteran communities. Some of it's pretty common stuff. Some of it's things you've never heard of. Some of it's taboo. Some of it's just like, well, and that's fine because, they can't all be, stuff that everybody knows about. That's why we're bringing them to your attention. So, yeah. We're going to talk a little bit more about how we came to be and all that good stuff at the tail end of this broadcast. If you are following us online, we appreciate that. If not, if you like what you see afterwards, you want to follow us, you can go to any of our social media outlets, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, whatever the hell it's called now. I don't know. He handles all that stuff. So, yeah. But yeah, you can just go to our YouTube page, BattleBROS Podcast, and it will connect you to all of our social media accounts from there. If you like what you see, if not, hey, I get it. You probably follow like thousands of other stuff too. We're just two guys in a podcast. What the hell are you doing over there? I just see you going, like, are you like shrinking in size over there, dude? What the shit?
It's a possibility.
You are shorter than me, so that's fine.
Yes.
You're like what, 5'6"?
5'7".
Yeah, throwing that inch somewhere. So yeah,
Hey,
so like I said,
Tom Cruise is 5'7", and he's like one of the biggest action stars in the world. So
he's also an asshole, from what I hear.
Could be.
He's also a weirdo. So,
well, weirdo is the most common thing I've heard. Asshole, not so much.
Well, he was. There was a video that got circulated of him when they were making a movie during COVID, and they're talking about how people weren't, following and adhering to the rules of like, masking and all that kind of stuff. He's like, we are here to make movies. And like, he comes off as just being this completely pompous ass and from what you're hearing. Cause somebody like,
yeah,
you remember that?
Yeah.
I mean, listen, the guy makes great movies. He is the quintessential movie star. He's been a part of so many different franchises. I mean, Mission Impossible. He's been doing that for years. He's been a part of Top Gun. They're apparently making a third movie or something.
They are definitely making a third Top Gun. Yes.
He's been like the one of the craziest movies I saw him in was Collateral with Jamie Foxx. You're like, oh shit, he was a bad guy. Okay, it's always good when you got a good actor playing the bad guy, like Denzel Washington in Training Day. You're just like my buddy Kevin, my mom
King Kong ain't got nothing on me.
Ain't got shit on me. It's gonna end up in fucking Pelican Bay. I know I'm butchering that. I'm not trying to do it verbatim because I don't know the movie well enough. I've seen it quite a few times. I just don't have it memorized. So my apologies. Not trying to offend or alienate anybody. We'll leave it at that. But yes, when you got the traditionally good guy actor playing the bad guy, it's like, ooh, that's.
But Durka buckles your head.
I don't know how that compares or relates or. Stop, dude. We're 5 minutes in, and my brain is already grenaded. Okay,
Your brain is already grenaded.
Yeah, I was just like, I got Dane Bramage.
He's been grain burnaded.
My dad used to say that all the time. He's like, I got Dane Bramage. I'm like, shut up, Dad.
Love it.
So yeah. So if you caught our show, did you put that hyperlink in the? You didn't put it up in the notes. You got it ready though.
I got it ready.
Roger. All right. So if you caught our show last week was episode 130. It was entitled Melting Pot Culture and Its Unfortunate Rivalries. and we were talking about some different things in relations to like melting pot culture, the goods and the bads. You know, like how when you have different people from all over the country come
There you go,
together
Home Slizzle.
into a unit. What's up?
Hyperlink.
Word bird. Okay, just you put it. Okay, I got it. Track. But yeah, so sorry folks, live show. We're fucking up in real time. So yeah, we talked about melting pot culture and its unfortunate rivalries, things that are related to it, some things that aren't related to it. It's a pretty interesting conversation. It was a little bit touch and go because we had to kind of redraw the notes on the show Thursday night before the show, and it's like, oh, so that was kind of like literally admin halt,
Fire.
turn 90 degree. What the hell is with you and the lighter, you damn pyro? Jesus.
I like fire.
Yeah, too bad we can't stop the clips here. Like, I got him going, I like fire. Anyway, I got my lighter right there, but it's going to stay right there until after the show when I go smoke my cigar. So, yeah. Anyway, so this week we decided that we were going to talk about an interesting topic that kind of has been afflicting and affecting both of us for the past few weeks. However, before we get into that, we got one news story that was pretty good. And I was like, we should talk about this. And you're like, yeah, you pulled the John. And it's like, we're going to do this. So Alamo's going to pull this up right now. I'm going to pull it up on my end so I know what I'm reading.
Indeed. Boom.
So the Finnish Air Force has some cadets under fire for drawing giant penis-shaped flight patterns during training mission. If you can scroll down to where that picture is. Listen, Joe is going to be Joe if he's enlisted, if he's a warrant, if he's commissioned, from the lowliest private to the fucking 4-star generals in charge of shit. Joe is going to be Joe and do some dumb shit. Okay?
And no matter what country's army as well.
Listen, I guarantee you there were some Roman legionnaires drawing phalluses on the insides of their shields when they were in the freaking columns and all that stuff, in their phalanxes and stuff.
Thinking it was hilarious, too.
Awesome. I'm going to read a little bit of this. The hammer... choice of words there. The hammer has come down on a group of Finnish Air Force trainee pilots who deviated from their flight patterns to draw 2 giant penises in the sky. Air Force Reserve Officer Training Corps cadets were conducting training exercises out of Jyväskylä, about 170 miles north of Helsinki, at around 7:30 a.m. local time on April 13th, when at least 4 planes followed flight patterns that traced the shape of genitalia, according to the Finnish tabloid Italiti, whatever.
Jyväskylä, I think is what it is. Jyväskylä, okay. And then what was the other one you said?
I have no idea. The city right there at the top of that paragraph, Jyväskylä.
Jyväskylä.
Okay, well, you're fucking expert on everything, so whatever. You just pronounce shit. I'm just an idiot, so whatever. The startling imagery was captured live on the publicly viewable flight tracking website Flight Radar as screenshots of the crude patterns quickly spread across social media. In addition to the phallic shape, the pilots also drew 2 big hearts during the training flight.
2 big hearts, of course. Yeah, because, you got to balance out the penis with the hearts, because
Finnish Air Force confirmed to the outlet that the flights were conducted by students from the Flight Reserve Officer Course and condemned the trainee pilots' behavior. Military officials say the pilots were swiftly disciplined for their actions, and that investigation has since been launched into the incident. You can go ahead and cut that off.
There's even better. Look at this. It's oh my
I'm
God.
going to very crudely reenact. If you want to cut that off, dude, I will reenact that whole thing right now.
Oh Lordy.
This is going to be what that looks like. What are you guys doing? You can't do that. The public can watch you. Okay, the door is closed. Listen, we don't care if you do it, but make sure they don't see you. we're going to have fun in the airplanes, right?
But come on, it's funny. It's funny.
It's going over Helsinki and say, hey, look at me, whatever. Okay. I hope we don't cause international.
My question, which pilot was the balls? Which one was the shaft?
I think we officially did it. This might be the episode that gets us fucking banned off of YouTube and shit, talking about shafted balls and shit. Oh God.
Awesome.
All right. Yeah, so that was a pretty funny story. So we were just like, yes, let's do that. So that kind of
we figured it was pretty pertinent.
Funny enough, that directly ties into what we're talking about tonight. So for the topic of our season 6 penultimate episode 131, welcome to our discussion on morale, or the official title, as Alamo said, and morale, the invisible force that wins battles. Well, yes. You're drawing penises and balls on everything, you're going to win wars, damn it. That's how it's done. It's called tagging, and the Spec 4 Mafia is undefeated. Come at me, bro. Anyway, let's get into the subject of the matter, shall we? So, morale. Let's talk about what that means first. Everybody hears that term. It's, everybody's heard of like, MWRF or FWMR, morale, welfare, and recreation, and I think families. It's either in the front or the back. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's MWRF or FMWR, whatever. But it's family, morale, welfare, and recreation. When you're overseas, you don't have any family, so it's just MWR. We had an MWR hut, and we had like a pool table. We had a popcorn machine, just big screen TV where we could watch some stuff. Some guys were camping out during the night because of us being Florida Guard guys. We were over there, and the Florida State game was on halfway around the world, and we had some diehard Gator and Seminole fans, and they were like, "Listen, this is gonna be on because we got satellite TV. This is gonna be on in the damn thing." So, that's what's going on. So, but Mac, what does morale mean? Well, hell, I'm glad you asked. Let's get into that, shall we? So, morale is defined as the collective confidence, enthusiasm, discipline, and willingness of a group to work together toward a common goal, especially under pressure. So the reason this got brought up is we were kind of talking about some issues with morale, both in our military and professional realms, right? So we were talking about some times where like morale was super awesome and morale when it was like in the fucking toilet, right? Like a field shitter that's been sitting out there nasty after a 2-week fucking field problem, and it ain't been cleaned out by the honey wagon yet, and it's just like the morale is underneath 3 feet of shit kind of thing.
Indeed.
So, and I'm sure everybody's had that experience, if you've been in the military, or not even the military, but like working for a certain institution, organization. There's times when morale is sky high, and there's where like you'd have to look up to see hell, and it's just like awesome. So morale is super important. Why is it important? Well, I mean, let's face it. You're already you might be in, like, let's look at it this way. Hypothetical situation. Okay. Picture in your mind's eye.
Hypotheticals.
You're away from home for the first time. You're doing something that is brand new to you. You just went through Army boot camp. Now you're stationed somewhere that you're not familiar with. You're the low guy on the totem pole. You're going to have to acclimate to being in that position. But as you get some time under your belt, they see that, hey, you're not completely a waste of time or space or airspace or whatnot. Like, you're actually worthwhile. Then your morale gets a little bit better, hopefully, because they start treating you and giving you responsibilities and treating you a little bit better. Not just the dumb new guy where, you get hazed and, have all the other institutional kind of things and hazing and, little, what am I looking for? The little goody time out in the field where you gotta freaking make you do all this dumb shit, qualify and whatever the fuck. So, but I mean, morale can also be crap. I know there were times when there were times in my unit when morale was pretty shitty. My old unit, my brigade, was a good unit, but they also have a reputation of like being very harsh on their junior enlisted and eating their young, so to speak. I know a lot of guys that got hemmed up and ended up, getting out because they're like, I'm not playing this game. I know a couple other guys that were on the other side of the fence, and they're like, yeah. And I imagine with what's going on in the world right now, and this is not meant to be a political argument at all, but if you look at what's going on in the world right now, it's like, yeah, somebody's getting deployed, kind of shit. So that can't be too great.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a fair statement to make that at some point somewhere down the road. I mean, because you think about the fact that now they've apparently they've upped the age for Army enlistment to I think 42.
Correct.
And they've also it's like you don't even you don't have the ability to like sign on, like you're automatically registered into the
selective
service program now.
Yeah.
You're no longer like, okay, fill out your form, fill out your card, and then submit it and blah blah blah. No, it's once you reach of age, you are automatically added to the selective service system, which was not a
and
thing.
Is it just men or is it anybody that's that age?
Men.
Okay, so it's still restricted to men.
Still restricted
to males.
To men. Correct.
So that whole taboo saying of military-aged male has just come back into play.
Pretty much.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Good to know. So yeah, like there's even times that, and not just for, like I said, for the military folks, for being at a job, like there's times when morale at your job can be absolutely trash. And I immediately think of first responders nowadays, in the world we live in, cops aren't exactly public, the public's favorite person to be around. There's a lot of dissension in the ranks because of the fact that they're looked at and hated upon by the general public. And I'm speaking in generalities. I'm not saying it's that way everywhere, okay? But I'm just kind of painting a picture that kind of helps explain what's going on. Obviously, not that I need to. I would think this is pretty commonplace anyway. But yeah, you've got certain agencies where it's just absolutely slap my chair up. It's absolutely rough because of the fact that, like, you can be helping somebody freaking change a flat tire, doing that, good public service interaction type thing.
The Good Samaritan thing.
Thank you. That's what I was looking for. The Good Samaritan thing. And people are still going to freaking, hate on you. It's like, it's crazy out there. So
especially if it's a young woman, like, oh my God, it's a guy helping a young woman. Like, what is he doing? Is he just trying to get in her pants? Like, oh my God.
And it's so funny because I even saw a thing a little while ago where it was talking about, like, it had a video montage, and I'm going off on a quick tangent here. You say that, oh God, it's a guy, he's being helpful. But then you see, like, this person, and I forget what the hell it was, but it was a person saying, why I stopped dating. And you see all these examples of guys, and they're on their phone. Meanwhile, the ladies are hauling all the shit off the beach or carrying groceries into the house, and guys are just not fulfilling that role of being, the helper, being the guy that's like carrying all the shit. Oh yeah, go sit down, babe. I got all the groceries. I'll get them in the house. Like, I remember like thinking, like, a few times I've had people tell me, like, I got out of my car when I was driving for Uber to open the door for him, and they were like, I can get it. I'm like, oh, okay. Can I get your aux cord? No. No, I got it. It's me.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, it was fun for a while, but I'm kind of glad I don't do that shit anymore because I couldn't imagine doing it nowadays. It's like,
yeah,
no fucking way. Anyway.
Yeah. Because anything can be turned into he said and did something to me. Like,
and you see those videos online, and it's crazy.
I literally offered you help, and you said no.
I offered you a bottle of water.
What?
I offered to hold your hair while you were puking on the side of my car because you had about 17 strawberry daiquiris, and I've got matching racing stripes down the side of my car from where you yacked on both sides. Yes, I'm speaking from experience here. It happened.
Yeah.
Not the hair holding part, but somebody did Ralph on the outside of my car. So yeah, outside.
Yeah, when I was doing Lyft, somebody they luckily for her hair was blowing in the wind, but so was her vomit. So yeah, that was when I was doing it full time.
Yeah. So, but also, like, with Alamo and I working together at one point, there's been plenty of times where morale was kind of like shit, like
Mhm.
we got, it was always crap. It's like at the end of the night, range guys had to go out there and get sweaty and dirty. You had some of those guys that would always, and it sucks kind of being in the middle of the store in the island of misfit toys, because like everybody just sits there and stares at you working while they're sitting back. There's plenty of guys that would just sit there and stay in their little area. They only want to sell these guns because they're higher class. They wanted to sell the
Mhm.
expensive stuff like the Kimbers and the Sigs and the
And then
H&K.
you had those guys that always sold the high points because it was an easy dollar.
Yeah.
I'm not naming names, but we know who we're talking about.
Yeah.
It
You buy
was-
two, we'll throw in the beam for free. Gotta
Mhm.
get that beam on them, man. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, morale comes into play a lot of times. There's, like, my daughter was saying the other day, it's like, the class might be getting in trouble because there was a substitute there and they did some dumb stuff, and it's like, I think our class is going to get hemmed up a little bit. I'm like, yeah. She goes, I think so. I'm like, well, there's that old Navy expression: one crew, one screw, one person fucks up for everybody. So, but anyway, so let's kind of talk about morale a little bit and why it's important. What's up?
That's actually a very valid and very funny statement, to tell you the honest.
Oh, it is. It 100% is. I've heard that from Jose of all people. Jose's like, yeah, one crew, one screw. I'm like, yeah. I'm like,
Carvajal.
Yep. Carvajal said it, man. The world according to Carvajal. So, we got to get him on this damn show one of these times, man.
I'm gonna start writing a sitcom script, and I'm gonna call it.
He actually told me about it's an animated cartoon strip called Hey Shipwreck. And it's about these guys that have like mid-watch, which is like from 22 to 02. It's in space, but it goes off of the whole premise of the U.S. Navy. So you got like the petty officer of the deck and all this stuff. And the guy wearing all gold is the chief petty officer.
When it comes down to it, you would kind of figure at some point the Navy would be the ones like, shipping off and,
So funny enough, that's why a lot of people were thinking the Space Force should use the naval rank structure.
Yeah. No, I completely agree, because I mean,
then you could have a colonel wearing 06, wearing the eagle, and he could be a captain. And if you had a guy named Kirk, it could be Captain Kirk.
Yeah. Because then you think about it, like when you think about the idea that I think like most like sci-fi shows that we've watched, right? Like you got all types of ranks, like from ensign to admiral and all this other stuff.
Star Trek being probably the most famous.
Halo,
the main character was Master Chief.
177,
right?
God, there's so freaking many of them, and they all use a naval structure rather than like an Air Force or an Army structure.
Or in the Aliens movies, you have the Colonial Marines.
Correct. And those would have been...
Which is also a branch of the freaking Navy.
The Navy, yeah.
So, hey, man, when you absolutely got to kill bugs, send the Space Marines to do it. Dope.
Damn right.
Dope. I clicked the wrong tab. I'm looking at the Finnish pilots flying the dick pattern in the sky.
Awesome.
Oh, it's the joke that keeps on giving.
Damn
Love
sure.
it. The Scandinavian schlong in the sky. Love it.
By the way, folks, that was a New York Post article. You could look it up. It's pretty damn funny.
It's damn funny. That's why we include it, because we're talking about morale, folks. Good morale this week.
That's right.
So the first article that we found is from the Army University Press, from the NCO Journal. This was published back in November 22nd of 2017 by Command Sergeant Major Gloria Kane. This was published in an article in From One Leader to Another, Volume 2 by the U.S. Army Command and General Staff College, which is something that all field grade officers have to go to. So it starts with a quote from General of the Army George C. Marshall. Quote, "It is not enough to fight. It is the spirit we bring to the fight that decides the issue. It is morale that wins the victory." When someone talks about morale in the military, it is usually thought of in light of the FMWR, also known as Family Morale, Welfare, and Recreation Program. I knew it was in one place or the other. This program began in earnest during World War II with the Salvation Army Sisters and Red Cross volunteers helping soldiers behind the lines. Due to funding, the program went away, but then in 1940 it was reestablished under the name Special Services. The program had its ups and downs, but really stabilized and took on a prominent role in 1984 when it began providing and establishing different events and programs for soldiers and their families. To me, this is only one small portion of building and maintaining morale in your unit. The success of the unit relies on many elements, but this key element can make or break your company is morale. One way in which morale of a unit can be determined is by the Command Climate Survey, which is done annually or when you have a change of commander. Based on my years of experience, particularly, as a first sergeant, I have found that there are four main areas that I believe truly serve as the pillars of unit morale. They are leadership, fitness, FRG, which is family readiness groups / relations, and esprit de corps. The command team relationship sets the tone for the company and is critical. My command sergeant major once told me that it is a first sergeant's responsibility to ensure that this relationship is solid. This is the spirit of the company. Enough said. Beside that, the very first factor that affects units' morale is good or poor leadership. A soldier wants to work for a leader that is trustworthy, cares about them, knows their job, is fair, has order and discipline, and gets their hands dirty with them. There can be no doubt it can be hard to make this mission happen and take care of your soldiers. I don't know if you notice this. Side note, there's a lot of damn typos in this. I know this is from 2017, but like grammatically like there's some errors in here. Like the part that I just read talking about taking care of yours soldiers. It's like somebody really didn't proofread this too much, and I'm just like,
no, they didn't.
Okay, okay. Coming up through the ranks, I displayed many types of leadership myself. At one time, I was a complete jerk, and then during another period, I was not assertive enough. Eventually, I was able to strike the right balance for me personally so that I was able to accomplish the mission and genuinely care for my soldiers. When I was a staff sergeant, our unit welcomed a new first sergeant. He actually talked to me and other soldiers like we were humans. Imagine that. He expected us to be proficient in and do our jobs. And for the first time in my career, I felt like I could actually
Also, side note, first sergeant is supposed to be capitalized.
It is.
First and sergeant, yeah. Okay.
We're going to leave it alone and we're going to keep going. So
yeah.
As a first sergeant, I'm sorry. Let me go back. I felt like for the first time in my career, I felt like I could actually talk to the first sergeant. He treated me with respect. I tailored my leadership off of his example. As a first sergeant, I asked the soldiers how their day was or how their family was often as possible. It is amazing what you can find out by stopping a soldier and asking a few questions. You can change their life without even realizing it. We all know that a soldier can be stationed in the best or worst of areas, but it is really the unit leadership which will help shape the soldier's determination as to how much they like the assignment. While leadership is a completely different topic and can be expounded on extensively, it is truly the foundation of morale. Once you assess your leadership, both your soldiers and yourself, it is imperative that you set the tone for the unit by professionally developing your NCOs through a comprehensive NCO development program, desk side counseling, and mentorship. This will truly heal wounds and build a strong, cohesive team. How you begin your day sets the tone for the rest of the day, and you should always begin with physical fitness. A healthy, fit soldier is a happy soldier. When I first took over one particular unit, I realized that we had entirely too many overweight and tired soldiers with bad attitudes. I initiated counseling and paperwork to either entice the soldiers to stay or leave. Most of them got in shape and stayed in the Army, but there were quite a few that were administratively separated. At the time, I had a company of over 350 soldiers, so when I conducted monthly overweight counseling, I brought them all into a conference room. I discussed 3 things: exercise, diet, and rest, all of which are imperative to a healthy, fit soldier. After the discussion, I would individually call them forward and review their packet to see if they had improved. If they improved, I congratulated them right there in front of everyone and told them how proud I was of their achievement. If they did not improve, I would have these soldiers stay behind. I would then individually ask each soldier what their diet, rest, and exercise plan was like. After I figured out what was wrong, which it was usually rest and diet, I challenged and motivated them to excel. Throughout the month, I would periodically ask those soldiers how their plan was working out for them. This let them know that I not only enforced the standard, but I also cared about them as well. Now, serving at the NCO Academy, when a student fails a tape test, I pull them to the side as often as possible and ask them if they had ever been counseled on nutrition. Most of them tell me no. Now, this begs the question, is it true? Is this true, or are they just telling me this? I am not sure, but what I do know is that the last 5 soldiers that I have spoken to directly have all passed the tape test after a week. One soldier lost 19 pounds in a week. If you don't think that they had an increased morale, you're crazy. I do recognize that this is a typical example and not necessarily a safe weight loss. Now, your question might be, what did I tell them? Sorry, hold on a second.
By the way, I feel like there was supposed to be a semicolon somewhere in there.
Yeah, again, grammatical errors.
Yeah.
And I'm only going to read down, like, this is a long article, so I'm going to probably stop right after this part just so that, it's... I'm going to go down to where he talked about muscle and stuff. So,
Whoody-doody.
I do recognize this is a typical example and not necessarily a safe weight loss. Now, the question might be, what did I tell them? I told them that they need to get at least 7 hours of sleep. Without rest, your brain does not operate as well, and your body doesn't recover like it should either. And I challenged them to exercise an additional hour every day after class. The physical readiness training in the morning is not always enough to help someone who is out of shape get back into shape. Lastly, the number one cause of weight gain or not losing any weight is not eating or not eating right. A lot of soldiers will say that they only eat 1 meal a day. Like right there, it says only eat once a day. Oh, I'm sorry. That's right. Here we go. Eyes are just playing tricks on me. A lot of soldiers will say they only eat once a day or little meals 3 times a day. I told them many meals by one of my NCOs. I was told many times by one of my NCOs that you have to eat to lose weight. Not just sound ludicrous. That might just sound ludicrous until I decided to actually try it. Your metabolism slows down if you don't use it often. If you rarely eat, then your body goes into survival mode and starts storing food as fat instead of muscle. And it goes on for quite a few other good points there, but it's a longer article. And we want to get to the other ones as well. So, and those are all good examples, and everybody, like, I'll tell you, man, like one of the great examples of having good morale is having good leaders. Like I've had some fantastic squad leaders. I've seen some shitbag soldiers that are in charge of squads and in charge of other people. And it's just like, I'm not saying I was perfect. I can just tell you of what I've seen. There's been times where I was not great. I was not the PT stud like other people were. I struggled with it. So there's that. But all honesty aside, having good leaders is very important morale. If you have great leaders,
it is,
and like you got good people in front of you leading the way, good people to your left and right, good to go.
Yeah. But also leaders that are giving you the ability to take responsibility, though, and have certain responsibilities rather than not giving you any at all.
Yeah.
That's also a boost to morale because it shows they're able to trust you.
Ish. So the next article that we're going to read, and I'm going to read this one in its entirety. I need to get my glass out because it's some tiny ass font there.
Control plus.
Yeah, I can just do that.
Control plus, dude.
There we go. That's better.
Which one are we going to?
The one that you found, the JFK Special Warfare Center School.
Yeah.
SWCS.mil.
Yeah.
So this one is a Special Warfare Book Review, Military Culture Shift, the Impact of War, Money, and General Perspective on Morale, Retention, and Leadership by Corey Weathers. This was published November 21st of last year. This is by Command Sergeant Major Roger M. Cassane. Okay. Starts off with a quote from Corey Weathers. It is far too easy to get lost in the responsibility of people management rather than the often messy dynamics of leading and caring for people. Have you often heard the phrase, today's generation is so different? With 4 generations of Americans serving across the joint force, a key challenge is the messy dynamic of leading and caring for them, regardless of age, experience, or beliefs. The presumption of significant generational variation has become a kind of folklore, providing a pretext for rationalizing communication difficulties between leaders and subordinates. In Military Culture Shift, Corey Weathers asks us to consider how much more influential leaders might be if they asked rather than presumed, listen to what other generations think, bridging and even transcending generational differences. In this remarkably well-researched, incisive book, Weathers argues that the armed forces are at a cultural inflection point. A licensed professional counselor and military spouse who has counseled and advised elements across the special operations enterprise, she points out the wicked problems created by 20 years of war. Among her most insightful observations is a recognition that each generation imprints itself on the institution in ways that reflect its life experiences. One of the messy dynamics leaders confront is synthesizing the various perspectives, ideals, and values into a cohesive whole for success. The generation that unlocks the door is not necessarily the same generation that walks through it. Weathers shows the intergenerational dissonance associated with the pace of operations, the inherent stress of the profession, and the intricacy of military traditions. Though she recognizes that dissonance creates complex leadership challenges that have compounded over the last 2 decades, Weathers' book is rooted in a profound sense of hope, grounding in inspirational stories from self-aware leaders she has met over 15 years of research. Military Culture Shift includes an extraordinarily useful tool, tips for engaging younger generations that emphasize transparency, authenticity, and empathy. Professionals in Special Operations Forces, SOF, pride themselves on nurturing sincere relationship with partners. We should do the same with our troops. Weathers also analyzes the challenges posed by cultural differences between service members who view military service as a profession and their families who see it as a lifestyle and identity. SOF members and their families know better than most the rewards and costs of our profession, and Weathers speaks with empathy and personal experience to the challenge of perseverance military spouses face, given the unique relationships they have with both their service member spouse and with the service as an institution. Weathers celebrates the Herculean efforts to improve military families' quality of life and the pride and joy they share throughout their military journey. The first soft truth, humans are more important than hardware, emphasizes SOF's number one primary advantage, our people. I recommend this book to any SOF leader looking to connect to a deeper level with both multi-generational organizations and the support that keep them in the fight, their family. Weathers compels leaders to ask them if relationships are truly the priority within their formations and provides invaluable guidance for navigating those messy dynamics of leading and caring for people. I will say this. I would think when you have some real freaking pipe hitting bastards like any of the dudes that fall under USASOC or, SOCOM or any of those commands like that, you're probably going to have some pretty high morale. I would imagine there might be some toxic leadership that goes along with it. Like you've heard stories of guys, like once they separate from the community, they're just like dropped off the face of the earth. They don't exist anymore. If you're not in the unit, you don't exist, kind of shit. So, but at the same time,
I think that's the cool thing about it too, though, is because anytime you talk to one of these guys that are from like these like top tier units, guys from like Ranger battalions, guys from Green Berets, guys from,
Delta.
like they all have like usually, nothing but good shit to say. You know what I'm saying? And obviously they have, some gripes and things like that that they talk about, for obvious reasons. Sometimes some leadership, it's like, why the fuck was this guy here? But
Yeah.
I mean, for the most part, you guys, you have these guys really just they were they were loving it while they were in.
Sure.
Um, and I think the reason they have that morale is because there's a lot of traditions and a lot of like history and things like that just baked into these specific unit groups.
Oh
Um,
yeah, like for an example, like when you see, I'm sorry to interrupt you. For like
no,
when
no,
you
no, you're good.
see, if you have the unfortunate privilege of going to like the funeral of a Navy SEAL, like they all take their trident off and they place it on the casket and they pound it in there and then they salute the casket and stuff. Like that's legit stuff. It's like
Yeah,
that's pretty wild stuff. Um, just because of the morale and the lore of that unit being so high and stuff. I mean, I would also imagine too, to go along with what you were saying, talking about how like you don't want to hear bitch too much. They've also got to, get people to come and replace them and stuff. And you're not going to do that if you say, "Oh yeah, morale shit." Like,
yeah.
okay, I'll look somewhere else. Like, you
Hmm.
know, at one point it's going to suck. I mean, some people have that internal morale thing where they're happy no matter what. Had this dude that I went to basic with, he I don't know if he was going. He might have been an 11 X-ray, like he was like undesignated.
Hmm.
But this guy was always doing like kooky type shit. And the rumor was like he was going to psyops, but it's like, why is he in infantry school? Kind of thing. So he might have had like an 11 or 18 X-ray type contract where it was just undesignated or some shit. He was just a little bit kooky, a little bit off. But like you couldn't get him down. He was always just like, whatever. Like I'm here to freaking this is a game. Whatever.
I'm here to chew bubble gum and kick ass,
And
and I'm
I'm
all out of
close
bubble
to
gum.
bubble gum, yes. So good.
Yeah.
So good. Oh man. That's awesome.
um.
But continue what you were saying, dude. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, 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 no. No, there, these unit again. It's like they have history that, in all honesty, like you've noticed, like, and I'm pretty sure a lot of guys that are in like these top tier units, they could probably mention it. You don't see in like big army, like in a lot of big army, it's all about like, all right, let's get these guys trained up, let's get them ready to go over there. Fuck the history of the unit. We don't need to know any of that. We don't need to instill any of that kind of crap in them. We just need them to be prepared to go to battle and blah 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 blah. And I also too, the same thing. That's the same thing that the Marine Corps does. The Marine Corps drills Marine Corps history into your head. They drill the pride and the freaking and the history of those people that came before you into your head to keep your morale high, because it's that whole thing of, well, you don't want to disappoint Chesty Puller, do you? Chesty is the boy. And
Yeah.
if you don't do the right thing, you're going to be disappointed, Chesty.
Let me
Those,
ask
those,
you.
those are my Marines out there. You guys know what I'm talking about.
So let me ask you this question, because I've heard this from guys on active duty. I was only on active duty when I got mobilized from my deployment. Do you learn a lot about your unit's history and stuff? Like with you being, Second Dragoons and stuff, did you guys learn about the history of all that stuff? Like,
Honestly, only if you're really looking for it.
because I know like guys with like First Cavalry, like when they like big part of the unit is going on the spur ride. Like you get
Yeah,
out there and just get the dog shit smoked out of you to get the spurs and stuff.
yeah.
And then you can wear the spurs, to wear the
Hmm.
Stetson and all that kind of stuff. Like the Stetson to me is a great morale thing. But it's also funny. We got to talk about this too. We got to talk about the goofy shit that's done in the name of morale. The mandatory fun day.
Yeah, we've had some of those.
Yeah.
The But yeah, really only if you're looking for it. Most of the because what happens is like when it comes to the unit that we were in, most of our like unit history, the only way you were going to find it is if you found it at the battalion CP. You know, what I'm saying? That's really the only way you were going to find. Like, you have to find it there. And honestly, whenever I pulled CP at the battalion, that's when I would like, if I got bored as fuck, that's when I would go and I'd be like, oh, let me see what's going on here. And that's when I learned about like the little bit of shit that I did learn about my unit, which I thought, oh, well, that's kind of fucking cool.
Yeah.
We got our stuff. We got our fleur de lis from the French because the French liked what we did. Cool. All right. Nice.
I think, man, like I don't know how it is with like the current generation and the current like people in the military. Like their morale is, you know, they just do things different. Like walking up to like I was watching some enlisted troop. I want to say she was a staff sergeant, and at the time, the command sergeant major for Army Special Ops Command was a female. And she, instead of referring to her as sergeant major, she called her CSM, and I was just like, "You did what?"
What?
She referred to her by the initials of her rank. She said CSM, like she was addressing her. I'm like,
you mean Sergeant Major?
It's like Sergeant Major, like exactly. But and I had to stop, and I was like, am I having an old timer moment? I think I am, because like no. Like if somebody, if I was a platoon sergeant, if I was a E7, somebody walked up and said, "Hey, SFC," like negative.
Yeah. The moment that I'd have a squirt gun. I would have a squirt gun with hot sauce specifically for that. It's like, did you just call right in their fucking eyeballs? Like,
oh, please walk around with it in like a military holster and all that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, say that again. Say that again.
Eye blinkers. Go. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Ah!
Never mind. You wanted to keep going that stupid route. All right,
I'll have to find that clip. It was on YouTube a while back. I'll have to find it. But I heard that and I was like, ew, no. Like that would just piss me off. You know, it's like I heard a story about this guy. One of my old squad leaders. He's now like he's a recruit, like one of the head recruiting guys for the state of Florida, for the Florida Guard. I think he's like the operations sergeant major at state and stuff. Great fucking dude, like fantastic leader. He was out there, and he used to be on active. I think he was at Bragg. I'm not sure. He's either with. I want to say he was with 18th Airborne Corps. I don't think he was with 82nd. I think he was at 18th Airborne Corps. And the division sergeant major walks up. The Corps sergeant major, like, morning. He's like, morning, sergeant major. He's like, good day for a low crawl. So him being a PFC, he just gets down and starts low crawling. And the sergeant major picks him up. He goes, not you, man. You're good. And he gets down. He just starts to low crawl. He's got his jump boots on. He's got starched BDUs, spit polished, freaking spit shine and polished jump boots, just get scuffed as shit. And he just low crawls out to his old like square body F-150 Ford, gets in driveway, and my buddy's sitting there just going, what the fuck was that? It's like, it's one of those morale moments where you're just like, you're not sure that it happened, but it's like, all right, that's cool. So, but yeah, I mean, it's like, man, I can tell you, like, morale for me is great leadership, and knowing that, like, the leaders that I had when I was at my base in Afghanistan, we had our base commander, Colonel Guerin, who went from being a first sergeant to a full bird colonel, which still just like, I think about that nowadays. I'm like, he went from an E8 to an 06. I'm like, damn, double damn. We had a couple of great sergeant majors that were up there at the group level and at the corps level and the base sergeant majors and stuff. Oh man, like we had some good damn dudes, man. It was great. Just, and the morale was pretty good. Our own leadership, yeah, I'm gonna leave that alone because that was yeah, I'm just gonna leave that alone. So
I've been there. I've been
I
there.
don't need it. I'm trying to get past that trauma in my life. So,
Yeah.
but so yeah, I mean, what else did you want to say on morale, dude?
No, I think like honestly, it's and this is just something I hope Big Army does a little bit more. I think they need to teach the unit history a little bit more. I think um, you only find that in the army specifically, you only find the units that believe they're the most prestigious doing that for them. You know what I'm saying? Big Red One, 101st, you know, Ranger Battalion, you know, stuff like that. Like the most prestigious units are usually the ones that are usually the only ones that are really teaching their history
Yeah.
to their soldiers, and I think that's a very very big disservice.
Do you remember when we had Kyle on and he was talking about like
Yes.
the inner workings of? He's like, we don't call it third battalion, we call it turd battalion because that's where all the
Yeah.
shit birds go. I was just like, this is what I want to know. Do you want to
Yeah.
know more? Yes, absolutely. You know, it's like all the insider stuff. It's like I heard stories about guys with the 82nd in World War II getting
Yeah.
put up for the Medal of Honor. It's like, no, they were already dead from frostbite. We threw his body on a grenade because the grenade was going to go off to shield the rest of us, and then we put him up for the Medal of Honor. It's like, oh, all right, that's that good shit that I want to know. Yeah, buddy. But it's also, yeah, it's like, one of my nerd hobbies is I collect military patches, and one of the ones that I have is from the 31st Infantry Division, which is called it's the double back. It's two D's that are back to back. It's called the Dixie Division, and that's actually the division that my old regiment.
Double D.
Shut up, dude! I fucking knew you were gonna do that. But that was the division that the shut up. Just let me get it out. God, I let you talk. Shut your damn trap, dude. Jesus. That was the division that my old regiment was assigned to during World War II. So it was actually comprised of National Guard units from like Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, and I believe Georgia. So they were all put into like the 31st Dixie Division and stuff. So that's why I have that pass. I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. I would really love, dude. You and I need to go up there, but like go to the go up on Blanding and go to the museum that they've got there. They've got a pretty good museum. They've actually got some pretty good stuff in there. They've got a captured Japanese flag from World War II, and they've also got some vehicles and stuff out in the yard and stuff. But yeah, that would be. We should go up there and check that out. That would be dope.
Damn, they got a captured Japanese flag. Did they capture that themselves? Did they fight in the Pacific Theater?
It might have been Germany. I know they have some kind of flag that they captured. It might have been German. It might have been Japanese. It might have been German. I don't recall. It's been, dude, I was up there when I was a young guy, dude. It's been forever.
You were a young buckaroo.
I think I was still an E3 at the time, dude. I was like wet behind the ears and shit. So, but anyway, what else?
No, just honestly, man. Just hey, Army, big Army. Freaking don't what's the
don't
word?
Fuck with the troopers' morale, hooah.
That too, but don't shy away from your unit history because you might find actually some shit that you think is really cool.
Yeah,
that's it.
Cool. Listen, this day and age, like there's all kind of things you can do to improve your morale. If you're feeling kind of crap about the situation you're in, do what you can to change it if you can. Sometimes that involves changing up your routine, changing up, the particulars of your work environment. Sometimes it's just changing and getting a new job altogether. So Alamo and I were talking about, our jobs. We like our jobs, but at the same time, it's like, this, like with me being and working with clients in a school setting, there's times when my morale kind of drops a few points because, I'm a 41-year-old man sitting in kindergarten class all day. So it's like, I get home and I'm just like, peace and quiet. It's nothing against the school, something against the teachers. They're fantastic. I like my coworkers. They're great folks, very inviting and very welcoming. But it's just it's a lot. So like I look forward to the weekends where I can go and be myself, and I'm not my professional self. I can smoke a cigar, I can drink, I can cuss, all I can
Smoke a
say.
stogie.
Smoke a stogie. So that's
Have
gonna
a
happen here in a
smoke and a
little
pancake.
while. Absolutely. So, but did you have anything else, there, Alamo?
Nah.
Cool.
Nah, that like I said, that thing where it's like, big army, hey, teach your guys your unit history because it helps. You never know who it might impact. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, good morale is like like I said, it's morale, the invisible force that wins battles. Like you got good morale. I mean, look at the dudes from like watch Band of Brothers, watch the Pacific. You see those guys like they had their morale went up and down depending on the war and the conditions and stuff. But morale helped them get together and get through some of this hard stuff, like the Battle of Bastogne and Battle of Bulge, and all that kind of crazy stuff. So,
Yep.
but this has been our conversation on morale. Hope you guys liked it. Hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to let us know either which way. We'd appreciate your feedback. We're going to start closing out the show for tonight, and then we'll get out of here for the weekend. And next week is going to be our last show of the season. We'll talk about that in a little bit. So if you're joining us for the first time, we appreciate you stopping by. Thank you so much. Hopefully you liked what you heard or saw. If you didn't, hey, that's cool too. But hopefully you did. If you want to let us know, there's ways you can do that. Al's going to tell you about those in a little bit. This journey started a long time ago. Alamo and I have been friends for going on 20 plus years. We met in high school. We were both in high school when 9/11 happened. So we became like, we became part of the GWAT generation. After military, we kind of stayed in touch, been friends ever since, in various capacities. We worked together and done things together. We had an opportunity where we worked together at a retail establishment here in Tampa. Had a good friend of ours named John, who we've mentioned every single time we do the show. John was a Spitfire, man. He was a dude you just had to experience. I really wish I could describe it. We can tell, stories and legends about John, but like he's just a guy that you either knew him or you didn't. And if you didn't, like that's a huge loss because he was a guy worth knowing. Funny as hell, made work. I'm surprised we didn't get fired because we just did dumb shit all the time. We worked our asses off. And because of guys like John and some of the other dudes that we worked with, myself and Alamo, the guys that were at the range counter, we had pretty good morale because we all worked together. We had a pretty tight knit group and it was fun. I enjoyed my job. I had good dudes around me and liked the people I worked for and all that kind of stuff. We all kind of left there, went our own ways. Alamo and I eventually kind of got back together. I got an invite from his lovely wife, Tisha, to be a part of a thing that she was doing for her organization called Flipside Mentorship. You should, if you want to see good people doing good work, doing great work, flipsidementorship.com, changing tomorrow today. They are doing fantastic things over there. We're actually going to be taking part in an event with them like we have for the last few summers. It's our Battle Buddies event coming up. I want to say it's June-ish. I don't have the exact date, but that's fine. We'll talk about it later. We will be putting stuff out as the summer progresses. It will be over the course of the summer when school is out, so stay tuned for that. We will get to that down the road. But I got an invite from Tisha to take part in this event. Had a blast doing it. Alamo and I, got to just pal around and just be absolutely ridiculous with each other, and it was great. It was fun. And then afterwards, I think you came up to me like, dude, we gotta get the band back together.
Yeah,
Like,
sure.
yeah, that we should do. It's like, what'd you have in mind? He's like, a podcast. I'm like, I don't know shit about a podcast. And you were like, dude, they put a monkey in outer space. How hard can I be? I'm like, that's facts. How hard can that be? So we were kind of talking about it. It was on the back burner. Well, it was around this time or a little bit later on that we found out that John, unfortunately, had succumbed to some inner demons or whatnot and solved a temporary problem with a permanent solution, and he killed himself. And that was pretty rough because, it's one thing when you see people you don't know in the news as part of the 22 a day type thing where They are, it's like this right here. This is the big thing that we're trying to combat right here. On average, at one point, that was the number of veterans a day that unalived themselves. It has gotten, I believe, a little bit worse, where I think it's around 30 now, unfortunately. But
That's unfortunate.
um, yeah. So, but it really kind of hits things home when it's somebody you know. So I reached out to Alamo and I was like, "Hey man, did you hear about John?" And you were like, "No, I got to reach out to him for his birthday." I'm like, "You can't. He's gone." So for me at that point, I was like, "Do the podcast thing. I'm in. Let's do this. Let's go." So we started discussing what we were going to call ourselves, what the brand was going to be, what our mission and what our message was. And part of that, we came up with the Battle Bros Code. And what the Bros Code is 4 easy things you can do to help keep yourself on the right side of the dirt and to help yourself if you're kind of struggling, feeling a little bit down, or you're just having a hard time getting traction to go in a positive direction. Okay. So easy to remember, BROS. We're going to go through those right now. So be tenacious. No matter what you choose to do in life, do it with tenacity, fervor, and fire in the belly and piss and vinegar in your veins. Okay. Don't take no for an answer. If you want to do something, go out and set out to accomplish it and fucking do it. Okay. Whatever you want to be, whatever you choose to be, whatever your destiny is going to manifest itself as, whether it's a teacher, a mentor, a parent, a confidant, a therapist, a social worker, somebody who's a first responder, military, whatever the case may be, whatever you feel like doing, do it. Go out there and do it. Okay, don't accept defeat and go out there and fucking do it. In the words of the great Ron Swanson, just remember, don't half-ass 2 things, whole ass 1 thing. Be tenacious. Yeah, you're going to remember that now. R, refuse to surrender. Along the path of life, there's going to be a lot of times where we're trying to accomplish the goals we've set for ourselves. We're trying to do the small things, and we get off course. There's going to be things that happen where we get discombobulated, turned around, lost, whatever the case may be. Sometimes you get knocked down in the dirt. Sometimes you got to brush stuff off, pick yourself up, pull out your trusty compass and map, reshoot your azimuth, get reoriented to where you're going, and then DD Mal up on out of there. So, whatever that happens, refuse to surrender. Okay. Along with that, obliterate your obstacles. Going along with the last one, the obstacles, whatever they may be, don't let them beat you. Okay. Whether it's a river crossing, whether it's going breaking brush through densely packed forest or jungle, whether it's a going over a wall or going around it, going under it. Sometimes it's blowing a hole in a wall with some C4 Bangalores or explosives, or using an armored vehicle. Pick your poison. It's all good. Okay. Obliterate your obstacles. Keep moving to the OBJ and hit the X. Okay. Last but not least, S. Seek out help in a time of need. As you mentioned with our good friend John, he unfortunately solved a temporary problem with a permanent solution, and that's unfortunate because he was a great guy worth knowing. If having him here meant we didn't have this show, I would gladly make that change. Having him here where we didn't have to talk about him in the past tense would be a happy change of pace. Fortunately, that's not going to happen. So this is our way to kind of pay tribute to a guy that we know and just want to remember by telling his stories and telling his name and all that good stuff. If you ever feel like you're in a point where there's nobody out there to help you, I would tell you to stop and just please think about that. Find somebody. If you're fortunate enough to have somebody, reach out to them. It could be a friend, a family member, a coworker, somebody you served in the military with. A lot of times I reach out to Alamo. I reach out to our good friend Brian, a few other friends that served in the military because they can understand what you're going through. They've had a similar, kind of path, at least in the very basic sense, if not more so because they've had similar experiences that you've had. If you feel like you don't have anybody, there are options out there for you, especially for the fact if you feel like you're going to harm yourself. Please stop and pay attention to what I'm about to tell you, okay? If you're going to harm yourself, reach out to somebody, okay? There's the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. You can get a hold of them several different ways. You can reach out to them at the 800 number, which is 1-800-273-8255. Again, that's 1-800-273-8255. 8255. The last four numbers spell the word talk. 1-800-273-TALK. Tango, Alpha, Lima, Kilo. You can also reach them with 3-digit prefix 988. Again, that's 988. You can also text 838255. Again, that's 838255. Once you get on there, you're going to select option 1 and ask to speak to a live operator. They have folks there available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to help you in your time of distress. Please reach out to somebody. Don't feel like you have to go through things alone. We are social creatures by design. We do better in groups, okay? A lot of times when we are by ourselves, we isolate, and that can lead to a slew of other problems. And we want to make sure you get the support that you need, okay? So if you can remember those 4 things: be tenacious, refuse to surrender, obliterate your obstacles, seek out help in a time of need, you're going to help yourself get to a better position and make yourself able to fight on to the next day, okay? So please do yourself that favor and reach out if you need some help, okay? At this point, I'm going to hand it off to my co-host here. He's going to finish up the other part of the signing off of the show. Then we're going to get out of here for the week. So all yours, my dude.
So, social medias. Huh?
Yeah. You just mutter something? What? Oh.
So, social medias. We got them. If you want to catch us on either one of those platforms, all you got to do is go to the simple ones, facebook.com, Instagram, Twitter. If you want to catch us on Facebook, all you got to do is go to Facebook, type in BattleBROS.podcast. You'll find us there. On Instagram, it's at BattleBros_podcast. And on Twitter, it is at BattleBrosPC. Each one of those platforms, you can instant message us. We like getting messages from you guys. We like hearing from you guys. We want to hear what you guys have to say. Specifically, if you guys like the episode, what materials or subjects matter you guys would want to hear about. That's very important to us. Also, when you're on those platforms, always like, share, and follow, of course, because the message isn't going to spread without it being spread. You know what I'm saying? It's very simple. That's math. Okay, that's math. You like and share. If you share, sharing is caring. So just make sure that you're sharing the message as well as listening to it yourself, because you never know who might benefit from this. And honestly, for us, it all just comes down to that one. If what we do helps one person and stops them from doing something that, in all honesty, they're going to regret, well, they would regret, I should say, then, just that means the absolute freaking world to us. Because remember, you're not taking yourself out of the equation. You're taking yourself out of the equation for those around you that care about you. And that's never an equation that you want to, trifle with, because you never know who's going to be needing or missing you after that. If you guys like catching us here on the YouTube live every week, obviously you could do that every Friday at 9 whenever we're in season. If you prefer a different platform, there is Rumble. I'm going to be playing catch up on all of the platforms on getting everything uploaded there. We also have Spotify, where you can watch and listen to us as well. It's exciting, man. We're doing what we can and getting ourselves out there, dude. So I would say we have multiple places where you could catch us. We like that. But again, when it comes down to it, like, share, and comment on everything that you see, man. We want engagement. We want to be able to hear what you guys have to say. If you guys have something a little bit more private that you want to talk about, maybe it's something that you feel uncomfortable about putting it in like a big community chat. Hey, we got a Gmail, battlebrospc@gmail.com. battlebrospc@gmail.com. That's where you can actually send us a message. Hell, if you've got someone that you feel like needs to be on the show, send us their information, and we'll try and get in contact with them over there. Um, like I said, we need you. We need your engagement. We need you guys to tell us, you know, what you guys think of the episodes, and if you guys have any ideas of what you want to hear next. We'll listen. We'll listen. Um, if you like what you hear, I mean, again, we're on multiple platforms, to include uh, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, and multiple others, along with Spotify. Um, the big thing for us is getting the message out there and making sure that it's getting out to the people that need it. So help us do that. Help us do that by sharing it out. Uh, because the specific message you're listening to at that point may not be for you. It might be for somebody, and like it just might hit you like a freaking ton of bricks when you're not even thinking about it. Like, oh, I know exactly who's got to hear this, and then you just share it out. So help us, help them, help you, because at the end of the day, we all need each other. We all need to be there for each other. No one's going to have our backs but ourselves. Let's keep that going.
Good. So I'm gonna go a little off script here. I have one more thing I want to say. So this is kind of personal for me. So, um, today would have been my parents' 50th wedding anniversary. My dad passed. This year will be 8 years. He's passed away. Um, so I just want to say that, Dad, if you're watching and listening, I hope I'm making you proud, man. It There's a lot of times I can still use your advice, but I know you're in a better place. So, but happy anniversary, and that's all I got. So, this has been episode 131, entitled "Morale: The Difference That Wins Battles," of the BattleBROS Podcast. My name is Mac. This is Alamo. Thank you so much for watching. We hope that we will see you next week for our last episode of season 6. Please take care of yourself. Reach out to your friends, your loved ones, your family members, and just try to go out there and make the world a better place. That's all I got. We'll see you next week.
Yeshuri Bob. Battle Bros out.